from college in 1986 from the University of Georgia, and if you do the quick math, that makes me 55 years old. And I love being over 50. There's something magical about, and particularly as a woman, about being over 50 is I just don't care what people think anymore, and it's very freeing. It's really fun. And it happened in Target in South Portland, Maine, right after my 50th birthday. It was February, it was snowing, and in Maine, probably like here, it snows, and they give you these towels at Target to wipe out the snow out of the shopping carts that come in from the parking lot. This particular day I got there, and all the shopping carts were wet, but there were no towels. But there was this little millennial girl at the door, and she was the Target greeter that day. And her name was Amanda, and she was just getting through her 3-hour grueling shift at Target. And I said, Amanda, where are those towels? These shopping carts so wet. She goes, they're still wet from last night. I said, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She goes, I know, it's almost time for my break. Well, how am I supposed to shop? These are wet. She said, well, you can just take it in the bathroom and wipe it out with a paper towel. Duh. And I thought, my 30-year-old self would have gone in the bathroom and wiped it out with a paper towel. My 40-year-old self would have called Amanda's manager over, and we would have had a discussion about customer service and how bad Amanda sucked at it. But my 50-year-old self just took my shopping cart directly to the first clothing section that I came to. And I just lined it with little boys' T-shirts and soaked up all the water in there.
Hey everybody, it's the Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition, playing a little pitch and catch with my nephew, Caleb.
Hey guys.
He's the next Jerry Rice. Want to show him?
Yeah,
let's
do
go.
It.
You're going to love this. Ready, set, go! Let's start the show.
Hey you guys, I'm Venus Monique from the hit crime drama Vindication, and you guys should definitely make sure you're catching the Maurice Brown Show on Roku TV.
Yeah! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition with my nephew Caleb Lopes, field goal kicker for the number one A13 or AU13 team in the country, Caleb Lopes. Caleb, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Maurice. Doing good. Excited to see these two teams play this weekend, and hoping we have one more great game.
Well, hopefully we have one more great game. We had some awesome championship games over the week. Stu's not with us. He's grieving over the 49er loss. He'll get over it. He'll be okay. He's having a tough time with it. We're here for you, Stu. Anyway, that being said, the Eagles dominated the San Francisco 49ers 31-7. What did you think of that game, Caleb?
Honestly, it showed the Eagles. Everybody was kind of doubting them, including myself. I didn't think they would be able to do much against that 49ers defense, but they showed that they can fight through adversity, and they really just steamrolled the 49ers, and they couldn't stop Jalen Hurts in that run game.
No, they couldn't. And I think that's the bigger question that we all walk away from in this particular game. And that is, the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they really shut them down. And of course, there were some other issues that developed. They lost Brock Purdy. They lost the fourth string quarterback. They were down to their fourth string quarterback in Josh Johnson. He went down. And so then you have to go back to an injured starting third string quarterback and find a way to manufacture through that game. And it was just bad news for the 49ers. They never had an opportunity to really get it going. But you also have to give the Eagles defense a lot of credit. I mean, they pretty much shut them down, and they were aided, of course, by the injuries. But we're going to talk more about that a little bit later on in our NFL headline segment of the show. The other game that later that evening was the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship that's Arrowhead, not Burrowhead Stadium, 23-20. What did you think of that one, Caleb?
Patrick Mahomes, he came out to play. He proved everybody wrong. He proved that he's the top dog. It's not Burrowhead, it's Arrowhead. It's his house. And he went out there and he played and got the win.
You know, I'm going to say this. You can't go into someone's house and make fun of them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the Bengals did. You know, of all things, to go in there and make fun of your opposing team stadium. And the Chiefs had to win that game. It's like there's no way you could allow Cincinnati to come into your house, mock it, and beat you in it. You can't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to give the Chiefs a lot of credit because Joe Burrow did not have a good day.
No, he didn't.
I think he was 26 out of 41 for 270 yards. Not his norm. Usually he's well over 300 yards, and his passing percentage, his QBR was 70, which is low for him. He's usually in the upper 90s, his QBR rating. So the Chiefs just weren't having it. Yeah. You have to give Chris Jones a lot of credit, the defensive tackle, number 95 for the Chiefs, a lot of credit. He had a gargantuan game, and he just was not going to allow Joe Burrow to come in there and beat them.
Nope.
So that was an interesting game. But we're going to look at some of our NFL headlines here after that game, because now we have our Super Bowl set up. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I was one of those people that thought that it was going to be the Bengals and 49ers. No. But here's the deal. There were some fights that broke out towards the end of that game. Trent Williams got into a fight with the defensive back. Okay, you're like 6'6", 330 pounds. Why don't you just pick on someone that's 5'10", 190? That's great, Trent.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. Why don't you go over there and pick on Ndamukong Suh? Try him. So he took a little guy and slammed him to the turf. Long story short, are the 49ers sore losers?
It's ugly to you get mad. I get it. You're not going to be happy when you're losing by more than 21 points in a conference championship game. But it really is. It doesn't put up a very good image for you to get in a fight just because you're losing. And I don't think anyone. You shouldn't set that example because it really isn't right. So they showed that they might gain that title of being a sore loser this season.
Yeah, and then should a number one defense like the San Francisco 49ers have played better, or did they just simply get rolled by Jalen Hurts and the Eagle offense?
I think it's a little bit of both. They really didn't. They didn't show me like the pop that they'd had all season with Nick Bosa being there and like turning around that corner and getting to the quarterback in 4 or 5 seconds like he usually does. He really didn't do that. We didn't see Nick Bosa in that game. I don't know what happened to him, but Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, they were moving the ball. They were consistent. Jalen, he was running the ball. I think it really went all towards the Eagles. Everything went the Eagles' way in that game.
Well, it did. And I think that in reference to the 49ers being sore losers, your defense is number one in the NFL. And I expected to see Jalen Hurts and that offense struggle against the Eagles. Now, the Eagles may very well have won anyway, but I'm expecting like a 13-10, 13-0, 10-6 score because of the defense of the 49ers. But the Eagles just ran roughshod over them.
Yeah.
And so we want to make – so what am I saying? We want to make excuses for the 49ers because they didn't have a quarterback. I get that. What about the defense?
Yeah.
You didn't stop Jalen Hurts. You didn't stop him. They had their way with you, and I think that is the biggest takeaway for me in this game is that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles could not be stopped by the number one defense in the NFL.
Yep.
So going into the Super Bowl, I'm looking at that as a major concern for the Kansas City Chiefs. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Our next headline, did the penalty at the end of the Bengal-Chief game put the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, or was it inevitable that the Chiefs were going to win?
That's what all the Bengals fans are saying, but I really think the Chiefs had that game in the bag, especially in that fourth quarter. They looked like they were kind of controlling the game. They were running that clock, but the penalty did help. I'm not gonna lie, it helped them. It helped them a lot, but I feel like it was inevitable. The Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl no matter what in end game like that.
I'm going to say this, had the penalty not occurred by, I forget the linebacker's name, Osai, you're looking at what ended up being a 45-yard kick with 3 seconds remaining at a 60-yard kick.
Yeah.
And that there's a big difference between 45 and 60 yards. Butker could have made it from 60. He's a great kicker. A lot of NFL kickers can make it from 60, but you're going to have to be extra composed to nail that thing because that's a pretty lengthy
pretty long kick.
And so that being said, because let's face it, I mean, Mahomes got the first down. He made the stick. Yeah. And OCI should have pulled up. That was a boneheaded mistake. I get it. You got to get there, but you got to have the presence of mind that I cannot abuse this quarterback or the game's over. And he wasn't thinking, and that's essentially what happened. A 45-yarder was in essence a chip shot, not a really close one, but it wasn't a difficult kick, and the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, and it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles as their opponent. That's coming up on February the 12th. Our next headline, should the 49ers trade for Tom Brady, who wants to end his career in San Francisco?
It would be the Cinderella story that I feel like all the NFL fans would love. But realistically, I don't think they should trade for him. I don't think he fits into that San Francisco offense the way that that many people would think he would. Because the San Francisco offense it has a lot to do with the run. It has a lot of RPO. It has a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And Tom Brady he's never been mobile. He's a 45-year-old, for goodness sake. He's not going to be able to run the ball at all. And with Brock Purdy, I'm pretty sure he should be 100% by the time the season starts. And I don't think they really should trade for him. But if they do, it's never a bad thing to have Tom Brady on your roster.
No, it's not. I mean, if there was ever a perfect situation for Tom Brady, it would be with the 49ers. Yeah, but I think that, and I said this last week when Stu was here, I said the 49ers have to win it all, or I don't want to hear any more about Kyle Shanahan. Now Kyle Shanahan gets a pass because he didn't have a quarterback. He just didn't have a quarterback. But every year, this narrative of Kyle Shanahan being the greatest play caller in the history of the NFL, I'm getting a little tired of. But that being said, do you get Tom Brady? Hey, I think why not? I mean, I don't think you can miss in this case. Something tells me to leave it alone, though, and go with Brock Purdy going into next year. And that would be my take. I think Tom Brady needs to retire. Next headline, should the Giants pay Daniel Jones. Eli Manning said that they should sign Daniel Jones to a long-term deal. Is this smart?
Daniel Jones is really tricky. I was looking at his stats, and all season he threw 5 picks, which is really amazing. That was third in the entire league. And 5 picks, with all these with star defenses that can really jump the pass, that's great. But the thing is, he really didn't it was 5 picks, but he only threw for 15 touchdowns all season. That's not great. So
No,
he's a tricky situation. I feel like he's almost scared to throw that ball. And it's just, I guess they could, but it's not a win. Even if they do sign him, it's not, oh my gosh, we just signed one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But if they don't, they could lose him and have to try to find another franchise quarterback, which is pretty hard these days. So it's a 50-50 situation.
Yeah, I think they need to move on from Daniel Jones. If you look at what happened in that game, I think the blueprint for beating the Giants is very clear. Stack the box, stop Saquon Barkley, and make Daniel Jones beat you. He can't do that.
Yeah.
He's not an elite quarterback. He's a decent quarterback with some help. He's got legs. He can run and he can throw, but he's not an elite quarterback. And it held the Giants back, which makes them fraudulent with him as the starting quarterback. So, in my opinion, I think they need to move on. They need to find a quarterback that can complement Saquon Barkley. They need to be able to work together. But that being said, the next headline are the Cowboys, who fired Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator. Are they being honest about the real problem in Dallas?
Honestly, I think it's a start, firing Kellen Moore, but it's not the main problem. I think we all know what the real problem in Dallas is.
Yeah,
it's Dak. It really is. He's the kind of quarterback he never have I ever seen him play to his level against a team that's even decent.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think that he really is a bust. Everybody was saying, "Oh, next season he'll get better. Next season he'll get better." He never gets better. That's the thing.
He never gets better, and
honestly, he's
it's
getting worse.
He's getting worse, and this is a narrative that goes on in pro sports, particularly in the NFL, when the superstar is not getting it done or the coveted coach is not getting it done. They'll fire an assistant coach, either the offensive or defensive coordinator normally, so they can spare the head of the real problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, Mike McCarthy isn't the sharpest tool in the box either.
He's not either.
So, I'm looking at the fact that the Cowboys, they still don't get it.
They don't.
They still don't get it. And this is why they are basically the laughingstock of the NFL along with the Washington Commanders. We move forward. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and continue with our NFL headlines. And then when we come back, one of the things that I want to get into is the ongoing saga with Aaron Rodgers. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, but this ongoing saga with Aaron Rodgers is starting to become quite an interesting little deal. So because every time I look up, the Packers have been out of the playoffs now for, I don't know, maybe the last 3 weeks. Every time I look up, they're doing a story about Aaron Rodgers. Don't quite understand that. So we're going to come back and touch on that in just a little bit. I got a good friend of mine who's a part of the Superman and Lois series, Jordan Elsass. I think they're into season 4. I'm not sure. You ever watch that series on the CW, Caleb? Caleb.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch that? The Superman and Lois series on the CW. It involves Jordan Elsass. So Anyway, I guess you don't watch that very much, but it's a very good series. It's been running now. I think they're coming up on their 4th season. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back right after this.
We all begin as one version of ourselves. But as we grow, life changes us. Every moment shaping our character, shifting our priorities, stretching every fiber of our being until we think we've lost ourselves to the stress of it all. But that's not true, because under the torn fibers is a stronger person, forged like steel, with the courage to fight for those we love. And what we thought was lost can be found in family.
Series, so check it out. We are back on the Maurice Brown Show Super Bowl edition, and we're talking about an ongoing narrative with Aaron Rodgers. Are we getting tired of the Aaron Rodgers narrative? Is it time for the Packers to move on to Jordan Love?
I'm pretty sure everybody's getting tired of this Aaron Rodgers narrative. It's every single offseason. Is he leaving? Is he staying? Oh, is he going to the 49ers? Oh, it's like you never know. You never know with these veteran quarterbacks, and I think it is time to move on to Jordan Love. He's not going to be a great quarterback because I don't think he will ever be. He's probably going to be a mid quarterback at best. But I think it's time to move on from Aaron Rodgers and give Jordan Love a chance to show what he has.
Yeah, I it's starting to become like a mamby-pamby soap opera. And I'm like, yo, you know what? Let's just get rid of this dude. And I'm a Packer fan, but enough of the drama already. Okay, either you want to be here or you don't. We got business to take care of, and we don't have time for this. So as much as we love you and we want you on this team, if you don't know what you want, we'll help you. Bye.
Yep, that's what you got to do.
So that's been going on. I think Green Bay right now, if they were to retain Rodgers, would owe him $50 million, and to pick up the Jordan Love contract would cost another $19 million. Who are you going to sign?
Yeah, you can't spend like half a year's salary cap on.
Now, what the Packers have done, they built, it looks like on paper, a team that'll be pretty darn good next year if they leave Aaron where he is.
Yeah.
I think the way the Packers ended can be continued into a deep run into the playoffs next year, is what it looks like. But if you don't know whether or not you want to be here, if you're not sold out to being on the team and you want to go back and forth all summer, maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't, maybe I'll retire, maybe I won't. Bye. We don't have time.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
You can be somebody else's problem. We got a business to run. The next headline, Jalen Hurts says, hopefully people understand now. Question, is it too early to start making statements like that short of winning it all?
You know, this is sounding a whole lot like the Burrowhead situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, people aren't learning. Like you can't be talking all this smack before you go into the game and show what you have on the field.
Yeah.
You can talk all the smack after you get it done on the field.
That's right.
But I feel like you can say whatever you want. Again, you can say whatever you want, but what matters is what you show on the field.
Yeah.
And so it is early. Of course it's early, but it really does matter because I know both teams are going to go out to Arizona and play a great game. And whoever is better is going to come out with the Lombardi.
Whoever is better is going to come out with the Lombardi. So I get all of the, people will understand and how he was jaded. He was pulled from the national championship game a few years ago when Tua Tagovailoa was the backup. Nick Saban went with Tagovailoa, and the Alabama Crimson Tide beats Georgia for the national championship, and Jalen Hurts transfers to Oklahoma. And he gets them to the playoff. They didn't win it all, but he got them to the playoff, and he let everybody know, hey, I can do this. Gets drafted by the Eagles, and, the rest is kind of history. He has a playoff run after replacing Carson Wentz, and then the following year, he's going to Super Bowl. So I get all of that, but, finish the job first. Because last time I checked, you haven't won it all yet, and that's why we play. So that's just my take on that. Calm down, Jalen. You still got work to do. We can't crown you until you get the job done. Second headline, or the next headline, was the championship win by the Chiefs Patrick Mahomes' flu game. And when I say flu game, everybody knows that's Michael Jordan when he had the flu against the Utah Jazz back in the 90s, and he busted them for 38 points with the flu and hit the winning three and was like, we out of here. Okay, does Patrick Mahomes get that kind of affordability to be included in the same sentence with Michael Jordan?
Maybe not the same sentence, but it seemed like kind of like a flu game. Okay. It was like no one was expecting Patrick Mahomes to go out there and play to the caliber that he played, especially with a sprained ankle. And Patrick Mahomes, he's known for rolling out of the pocket, making crazy sidearm throws, like jump passes off one leg. And I feel like he did what he had to do, but from inside the pocket. And that shows that he can dominate a game any way he wants to. And
well, he showed that. He showed that. He was hobbled. They stuck a needle in him about that long. And so he didn't feel as much pain as we might think because of the high ankle sprain. But he balled out with an injury. He threw, I think his numbers were something like, 28, 36, 322 yards, 2 TDs. Impressive. It ain't no flu game, dude. Don't ever, and I heard someone mention it today on ESPN, do not ever put what Patrick Mahomes did on Sunday in the same sentence with Michael Jordan and the flu game. Stop it. Anyway, great game though, Pat. Great game.
It was a great game, yeah.
Yeah. Great game. Ain't no flu game, dude. Anyway, next one. We got how disrespectful was renaming Arrowhead Stadium Burrowhead Stadium, and by doing so, did that seal the fate for the Bengals?
It's. I feel like that's almost asking for a team to turn it on you. Like that's like saying, give it all you got because I can still beat you. Yeah. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They couldn't beat the Kansas City. They couldn't beat Kansas City, and that showed that it sealed the fate for the Bengals.
It did. Yeah.
No team is going to accept the disrespect of someone renaming your house, going there, and then having the clout to say, "Oh, I went and beat them."
That's right.
And I said I would beat them before the game.
That's right.
They're not going to let that happen.
They're not going to. No man worth his salt is going to allow another man to disrespect his house and come in and start renaming the items in your home. No man's going to allow that. So, and one thing that I've noticed about Joe Burrow since he's come into the NFL, he's extremely cocky. Now he's a great player, and I love his guts. He's got ice water in his veins. But if you look at his performance in the NFL up to this point, Joe Burrow has not gotten it done because of his mouth, because of his arrogance, because of the big cigar stogie that he's quick to throw in his mouth after a win, like he's a mafioso boss. You're not a mafioso, Don. And so the fur coats. and all of this stuff. And it's like, yo, Joe, you don't have a chip, man. And,
Oh.
you know, you got a really, really good team. You got to watch your mouth. Humility goes a long way is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And Joe Burrow just simply has not showed a lot of humility, and it is really costed. You don't give the opposition fuel to beat you. You know, unless you're Michael Jordan. Last time I checked, Joe Burrow wasn't Michael Jordan. Anyway, so we gotta there's not a lot of dogs that come down the pike that play like Michael Jordan, dude. You got to be a dog if you're gonna act like MJ, and Joe Burrow is not MJ, and it cost him again. It cost him again. So that we'll see what happens next year. Great quarterback, though. Terrific quarterback. Will the appearance of Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl as a running quarterback get Lamar Jackson paid in Baltimore?
This Baltimore Lamar Jackson thing has been going on for quite a minute now, and it's seeming that Baltimore, that the Ravens, it's seeming like they almost don't want Lamar for some reason. Like, if it was me, if I was the owner of the Ravens, I would have sat him down mid-season, at the latest, the beginning of the playoffs, and got that contract signed.
Yes, 100%.
But now he's a free agent, and there's going to be teams putting up big money, putting up a bag to go and get him, because he's an MVP. He will take your team to the Super Bowl, but I don't think I don't think he's going back to Baltimore. I really doubt it.
You know, it's a good question. I think if the Eagles win it all, being that Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson play similarly, I think Jalen throws a little bit more effectively than Lamar, but they're basically the same package. Yeah. There's a possibility that the Ravens may call him in and go ahead and pay him, understanding that this may be the new modern day quarterback. Don't know, but I think there's a small window of that. I just think that Jalen Hurts has proven everybody wrong. Everyone said that kind of including me, that kind of quarterback can't win. Well, he's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if he wins it all, there may be cause for a meeting in the Baltimore front office starring Lamar Jackson. Maybe. Next headline, are we forgetting about the defensive dominance of the Philadelphia Eagles in this matchup with the 49ers?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The entire season, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles defense was very underrated. Very underrated. I feel like everybody was talking about the star-studded 49ers defense, how they're the best defense in the league. The Bills defense, the Bengals defense even. But everybody keeps forgetting about the Eagles defense. They can really stop you from basically doing anything. They can stop the pass of Darius Slay. They have a great D-line, and they have a insanely good linebacker core. And it's a very underrated Philadelphia defense, and they showed what they could do against the 49ers on Sunday.
Well, they did, and I think if you look at the Eagles' run through the playoffs, they held the fraud New York Giants to 7 points, and they held the San Francisco 49ers to 7 points. Their defensive run through the playoffs equates to the Baltimore Ravens 2000 defense with Ray Lewis. Their defensive run in the playoffs equates to the Chicago Bears and the 46 defense from 1985 headed by Buddy Ryan. A lot of people would never think that, but if you look at the numbers, it's very close. An impressive defensive run by the Eagles. Do I believe that they're as good as the defenses that I just forenamed? Not by any stretch of the imagination, but what I do believe is they're better than what we all give them credit for.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I think the Eagles are complete. However, it leads me into my next headline, which I think begs the question, have the Eagles, Caleb, think about this now, have the Eagles, however, really played anybody this year? Are they, with all those great numbers I just stated, are they, however, the least tested team in Super Bowl history?
Yeah, I was looking at the show order earlier today, and I looked at the Eagles' schedule, and I realized this is the first time I realized this. They really had a extremely easy schedule this year.
They did.
Like, crazy easy, even.
Yeah.
And it was like, and the teams that they did lose to, they were dumb losses. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They lost to the to Washington in Week 10, which
they were manhandled by the Washington Commanders.
Manhandled. They didn't do anything that game.
Yeah.
When they lost Jalen Hurts, they lost 2 weeks in a row, week 16 and 17. Yeah. And those were, I feel like, acceptable losses because they did have Gardner Minshew at quarterback, but I mean, like, they still should have maybe pulled out the win against New Orleans. But they really did not play anybody major this year. Like none of these star teams that were set to be contenders for the Super Bowl, like the Bills or Kansas City, or really any really scary teams.
I wish I had the schedule in front of me, because outside of their own division, which consisted of the Commanders, the Cowboys, and the Giants, they didn't really play anybody. I mean, they had the Saints, they had the Colts, they had the Houston Texans, they had the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had the Green Bay Packers, who did not make the playoffs, who, by the way, tested them they barely beat the Packers. And I want to say, and matter of fact, they barely beat the Colts 17-15.
Barely beat
so,
the
and
Lions.
I look at the playoff. What's that?
Barely beat the Lions. It was, I think, 35-33.
Another non-playoff team.
Yeah.
And they were manhandled by a non-playoff team in the Washington Commanders. Now they're 14-3, and they deserve credit for winning the teams against the teams on their schedule. There's merit for that. But the teams that they beat were not world beaters. And I look at their playoff run, the Giants are frauds with Daniel Jones. And the formula is real simple. Stack the box, make number 8, beat us. Wake me when it's over. And then you had the 49ers, who lost their quarterbacks. So essentially, they're playing with one arm behind their back against a good defense. They didn't stand a chance. No. So we're going to talk more about the Super Bowl here in just a second. We're going to talk about Super Bowl 57, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, which is coming up February the 12th. We'll be back in just a moment to touch on that.
We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3. Listen,
brother, listen. Rising comic. You got Zachary. All he has to do is say, "Yo, stop, Zachary." Okay, are you Nancy? You say, "Oh, you already know." That's the most gangster thing I have heard all day, nigga. So you work downtown? Is that all you're gonna give me, or are we gonna? Okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like I'm still gonna be up here 15 more minutes, just staring at you. Nothing to do. Wait real hard like you're having a seizure. All right. Homestead, man. You ain't gotta say nothing out loud. Don't hold his arm, first lady. Be all right. Beautiful place during the day. Nighttime, gotta lock the doors. He got married, then married again. Is this how y'all do it, Homestead? Y'all just take it? Like, I'm only kidding. You don't have to come up. Just sip some water and just leave it up there for people. They said, no, hablo inglés. He said, comedy show. Yes. I said, God can turn your life around. He did it for me. He turned my life around 360 degrees. Okay, some of y'all need to go back to math class. Y'all like, what's the problem with that?
Oh, yeah. The Maurice Brown comedy show is coming to a town near you. Hopefully, the Maurice Brown show will be coming to Port St. Lucie, Florida. There is something going on in the works with that. Caleb, you want to talk about it a little bit?
We're hoping to have a collab with you, Maurice, and a few of your comedians, maybe funded by our team, Cherry Coast Patriots here. We've been doing a lot in our area. We've won a few national championships, and we're hope to bring the Maurice Brown Comedy Hour to locally here in Port St. Lucie, funded by, again, the Cherry Coast Patriots. Hopefully we see you here soon.
Hopefully and prayerfully we'll be there soon. Going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a blast. I'll tell you that right now. And for the number one AU 13 team in the country, back to our Super Bowl edition show of the Maurice Brown Show, Super Bowl 57. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles, February 12th at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona at 6:30 p.m. That's a Sunday on Fox and Fox Deportes.
Yeah.
Who you got in this game, Caleb?
Honestly, I've been a little bit of a jinx these past few weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick with my gut, but I'm going to choose the Eagles just because the way that they showed that they could play against a good team, team that has a great offense, a great defense. The way that they steamrolled through the number one defense in the country. I feel like Jalen Hurts, if he goes out there and plays like that again, he should be able to win the Super Bowl relatively easy. And that's something that you don't get to say a lot.
No, you don't get to say that a lot. I think that when you look at the easy road, quite frankly and honestly, that the Eagles have been blessed with to get to this point, don't know that they've seen the likes of a Kansas City Chief team or a Buffalo Bill team or a Cincinnati Bengal team all year. And the one team that was in that class, they were hamstrung at quarterback. And so we were all robbed of an opportunity to see a really good championship game in the NFC because of injury. That being said, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a problem, and he's going to try the Philadelphia defense. I think the biggest takeaway in this matchup in determining who should be favored is how effective the Eagle offense seems to be when they're running on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're really difficult to stop. And Jalen Hurts was not 100% in the playoffs. And he's going to have time to heal and come in here to the Super Bowl at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix 2 weeks from now and ball out, more than likely.
100%, yeah.
The Chiefs don't have a great defense. They have an okay defense. If you make them mad and you call their stadium Burrowhead, they're probably going to knock your head off. That's what any man worth his salt would do. So they had a little bit of incentive to do a little bit better than they normally would. I get that. But, you go into this game, you keep your mouth shut and respect these guys and do your thing. Chiefs going to have a problem on defense, stopping Jalen Hurts. I think that's one thing that has to be said. But on the other side of it, you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, and he surely ain't chopped liver.
Nah.
And so we get to really find out how good is that Eagle defense. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
That game, I feel like it's going to be determined by how well the Eagles defense can hold off against Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I'm just going to go and say this, and it doesn't mean anything because the Eagles could win it all. They've shown they're capable of getting it done. But nobody has stopped the Chiefs all year.
Yeah, they really haven't.
I'm just saying. I mean, nobody has stopped the Chiefs.
And if that Eagles offense can go can really run on full cylinders like they have during the playoffs, and not even and the defense can maybe get a few, like 3 or 4, maybe force a few punts, 3 or 4 punts. I feel like that's what's going to win them the game, that defense.
Yeah, I'm leaning with the Chiefs in a close one. I think this has the potential to be one of the most exciting Super Bowls we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts and the Eagles could very well win it. I would not be shocked, but I just think the Chiefs are just too high-powered for Philadelphia. I don't think Philadelphia has seen that kind of firepower all year, not from anybody. They had a chance against 49ers, and it didn't happen because of injury. And I think this – and we'll find out how good the Eagle defense is. We're going to find out exactly how good they are. I'm betting on the Chiefs to win this one. But, hey, the Eagles could win just as well. It's not like a done deal, Spike, Chiefs going to win. It's going to be – one thing I do believe is this will be a very entertaining Super Bowl, and one that you will not want to miss.
Yeah, well, it's going to be one for the history books.
One for the history books, indeed. This has been a great show. We miss Stu, who's a 49er fan. He's in mourning right now.
We're praying for him.
And I get it. Stu, are you out there? We're praying for you, buddy. Anyway, so yeah, it's hard. And I what's up, Caleb?
Yeah, hopefully, Stu, you're okay. Your team will bounce back, hopefully.
Yeah, we're going to give him a couple of days to mourn and do whatever he needs to do in the darkness and all that stuff. So anyway, that being said, final thoughts on the season as we get ready for Super Bowl 57.
It's about the offseason. It's gonna be I feel like a very big offseason for a lot of teams. The draft class is really amazing this year. It's going to be a great draft. I feel like we're going to get some studs. And there's going to be a lot of free agents this year, too. Saquon's a free agent. I do feel like he's going back to the Giants. A lot of great running backs are going to be free agents this year. Yeah, it's posing to be a good offseason. And hopefully we get to watch one more great game, great Super Bowl. End off the season. It's been a wild ride, some crazy games, but hopefully we get one more good game.
Hopefully we'll get one more good game. Once again, Super Bowl 57 coming your way on February the 12th. That's a Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on Fox. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Caleb, this has been a great show. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out and chit-chatting football. Definitely want to let everybody know in regards to the Maurice Brown Show and comedy coming up. If you are interested in going to the LOL GCA One Love Comedy Conference, which is going to be held in Triangle, Virginia, speaking of the Super Bowl, early registration is extended till Super Bowl Sunday, and it ends at midnight. And it's $75. After that, it'll be $150. So get your tickets now for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have very funny people down there. Shanita Chocolate Morris and Marcus D. Wiley, A-Train, Akintunde, myself. I'm going to try to get down there if I can. A lot of very Roxanne David, Miss Clarice. A lot of funny people are going to be down there for that. So get your tickets now. Go to lolgca.org and get your tickets for $75 before Super Sunday. This has been a great show. If you missed it, you can watch the replay on Facebook and YouTube, or you can watch it tomorrow on the Creative Motion Network on Roku TV. And also, you can listen to this show where all major podcasts are heard on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, the Anchor, Pocket Casts, Radio Cast, all those platforms you can hear the Maurice Brown Show. So for Caleb Lopes, I'm Maurice Brown. This has been a great show, and we'll try to see you guys next Tuesday. What do you say we do this thing again next Tuesday, and then we'll do it for Stu. Let's just do the show for Stu.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love
hopefully Stu's back by then. Hopefully he's done morning.
yeah, it's gonna be all right, Stu. We love you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna do it for Stu, man. Anyway, everybody, have a blessed week. May the peace of Christ be with you and your families, everybody. God bless.